He's a sulky, over-funky, kinda hulky superhero. A persistent and electrically transistored superhero. An exotically erratic and aquatic superhero. The Marvel superheroes have arrived.
And they were from Greece, a couple. They had been here before. And they were visiting and staying with us, and some friends of theirs from Switzerland were here. I think a cousin of the daughters.
Right, that's one of the boss that I've never met.
And they were staying in a hotel, and they came here for dinner that night. We were sitting like this, and it was September, very nice night. Have you ever heard this story? And the Swiss people were talking about what a nice neighborhood, and how New York wasn't as threatening as they felt. And I said, yes, we've lived in this neighborhood for 30 years, and I never feel threatened. I never feel worried. It's very wonderful, and so forth. And then it came to be about 11 o'clock, and these friends were going to go to their hotel downtown. So Thodoros and I, and Thodoros is a tall guy, about 6 feet or something, musky guy, and I decided to walk them to Broadway to a cab. And we walked them up the hill to Broadway. And it was a very nice night out, so we walked them back down. I mean, after we put them in a cab, he and I walked and we were talking, very sort of walking calmly. And just as we got in, practically in front of our door, out from this little park here, a big black man jumped out in front of us. And he said, "What'd you say it to me for?" And then behind him, there were about 6 or 7 other black kids all marching towards us. And the funny thing that happened was that as he said this, I turned, and both of us turned, and somehow our feet got entangled, and we both fell. He said, "What do you say that to me for?" And we both went like this, straight down the ground. And this guy looked at us, and the other people stopped. They looked at us.
They were more scared than
And they ran away, and then the doorman came out of the building. And there we were on the ground. It was a funny story of these 2 brave Greek guys, you know. Only one word from a black man and you go down.
I'm going to remember that.
You ever came faster to your feet? Hey.
Now that I know what to stand for,
You have a stroke.
Oh, she picked up on that. Said it so much.
You.
do you practice together?
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Tom.
My first trips to Chicago city limits, and Tom was there with Shari, and they were about to create idiosyncrasies that everyone knows about. And I was a performer, but Tom was asking me what I thought of all the other people in the workshop. You think he'd be good for my show? What about her? Would she be good? And he never asked me until like 2 weeks later.
I never asked you if to be on our show.
At that time, yeah. You're asking me about
I thought you were
everybody
too
else.
famous. Well, anyone else want to share any moments for the camera?
I remember one.
All right.
I met Tom there, was at the jam. It wasn't the first time, it was like the 3rd time. And he was carrying a column, a cement column. He was carrying it around all night. And I said, what have you got there? And he said, a column, a Greek one. And I said, well, where'd you get that? He goes, well, they were selling them. I said, well, what? He said, yes.
Well, you know why he had that? Because he always wanted to be a columnist.
Ah?
You always wanted to be a columnist, and you were carrying
The first time I met Tom, he was, let's see where, he was in a restaurant, a Greek restaurant, of all places. And he was asking about the meatloaf. And he said, I think her name was Florence, to the waitress. He said, Florence, that's your name? She said, yeah. He says, Florence, how's the meatloaf? Because usually I get indigestion. So he says, you know, my father makes it, but he makes delicious meatloaf. I never get indigestion from it, Florence. So Florence says, listen, Mr. Tom. That's what she called him, Mr. Tom. He had been there before. She said, listen, Mr. Tom, this eggplant is not eggplant. She says, you see how you're confusing me? She said, this meatloaf is good. I'm going to tell you it's as good, if not better, than your father's. And Tom says, well, let me see. He said, did you eat it? She said, yes, I ate that. Tom, I eat that every day, this meatloaf. And Tom says, well, after you eat it, do you belch or anything like that? And she said, oh, now you're getting gross. I've got to wait on other people. Then I came over to the table, had a little conversation with him. And that's all I can recall at this moment. If you come back again, I might recall something
That's when
else.
you first met me.
That's when I first met you. That was at the Acropolis restaurant on 8th Avenue and 47th.
And then I told Larry I was
Thank you very
Is
much.
that true?
No.
This is all absolutely true.
No, Larry's
No, because
But it's true about you, I know. Did I make that up about you making meatloaf
I
good?
make meatloaf.
Well, how could I know such a thing? Make it up.
For my wife's birthday a few years back, we had a lot of people invited. I was going to surprise her with the only thing I could cook is meatloaf. So we had about 70 people come. And I made a meatloaf out of about 25 pounds of hamburger. And all the other stuff. I couldn't lift it out of the oven. I had to get somebody to help me. It was so heavy. We really
That was just one.
it looked like a dead thing.
Tell a funny story.
Hey,
Whatever.
oh, come on, Mr.
I remember this one
You
night.
want to go upside down? Probably the thing. You want to go
I don't remember how it started exactly,
There.
but well, no, but one of them, I think
Just
it was
sat down
Nicky
and
must
just
have
started.
said, I came in and I said, hi, and Nicky said, Romeo, Romeo, wherefore art thou? I must have seen it in a commercial, in a cartoon or something.
No, pretty card.
And I don't know if I said it or he said it, but anyway.
Like a little weird.
Then I tried to come back and I said, you're the sun and the stars and the moon. And Tommy was on the top bunk and he says, hey, yeah, you're spaghetti. That was, for him, it was the height of what somebody could be.